Hi everyone and welcome to another episode of Swede Rolls. And with you as always, I'm Chris.
I'm Toby.
And with our guests today are slurping into microphone.
I'll join that.
Johan.
Max.
Welcome to our show.
Oh boy.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, this is going to be an episode, all right?
Yeah. Johan's been in our Deathwatch campaign.
Yes.
You're playing Brother Manius.
Brother Librarian Manius Lampronius Electus.
That's right.
How do you fucking remember that name?
It's
Because he
awesome.
plays a game, Toby.
What?
Unlike you, it's just like, I don't know, but... Anyway, and Max is here for the first time. You're a friend of Johan and Toby.
Yes.
Right, yeah.
And we're going to talk about Magic the Gathering. Is that correct?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what we're here for.
Yeah.
Great.
So they're here to talk about Magic the Gathering and what it is in shortened terms.
Short. Yeah. Let's condense, like, what is it, 20 years of... 25 years of...
85 or
30?
something?
30 years?
90
About that.
something.
Oh my goodness. Well, it's pretty old.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
It is.
And let's condense all of that into this one single 30-minute episode. That's going to be great.
It's
Yeah.
gonna be awesome.
But why don't you guys start by telling us a little bit about yourselves, when you got into the hobby, and like if you have any good or bad memories from it. Like one good and one bad usually. from
Oh,
the
dear
show.
God.
Well, I can start off there. I first got into Magic when I was quite young. And to be fair, I didn't understand the rules.
Yeah, I can recognize that.
But
It was very, what we call kitchen table Magic. Very casual, no format, rules light.
Basically, I like the look of this creature. And
Oh, yeah.
I like to put it on the table.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's the extent of what I've played it to. So
Then I stopped for a long time and sort of got back into it probably 4 years ago now.
it must have changed quite a bit between back then and now.
Yes, a lot has changed, but this time I actually learned the rules.
so
That's good.
a lot changed.
I can imagine. For one, do they have walls anymore? Because I seem to recall that.
I mean, yeah.
They are walls, but they're called defenders.
Okay.
It's a difference in ruling. They've made certain things more clear.
Mm-hmm.
They've tried to clarify everything in the entire game to make it less, well, what does that mean?
Mm-hmm. The less
So
room for
yeah,
different
so
interpretation.
about 4 years ago, you started to learn more about Magic and having to know the rules.
And I
So-
started actually playing the official format.
So which format did you start with?
Well, casual, I suppose, would be the description of it. Just throw together things.
So no like rules. You can't have X amount of this
No.
or these are banned or.
But then again, none of us had cards that were banned.
Okay.
None of us had powerful cards anyway.
Well, knowing Johan, he probably had like 1 million every time you open
No,
a fucking
no,
booster.
No.
Sorry, this is a World of Warcraft trading card game.
These are
traumas.
These are Christian's old issues resurfacing.
Astral
Yeah.
Tiger. Anyway, I'm sorry, Max. Continue.
The principle, I suppose, behind why I started again was it started to be played in my school, KTH, Royal Institute of Technology. We started up a group playing Magic, quite simply. And we were actually playing drafts, which are part of what's called limited. So didn't matter what cards you owned, you just opened packs, and through certain methods of selection, you got to play with those.
Okay, so you bought like new booster packs,
Yes.
and you picked card from those.
And that's how I got back into it.
So the booster packs are designed so you could play like this.
Yes,
Okay.
there are two main formats. There's sealed or draft, and we can go more into that later.
Oh yeah.
but-
Okay.
Yeah.
So what's your best Magic the Gathering memory? Let's start with
Yeah.
the worst.
The worst one is, it's hard to say exactly, but it's when you make one of those, oh, I just made a mistake. I just made a huge mistake, especially if something is riding on it. That's probably the worst. Alternatively, you didn't make a mistake, but you lost anyway. Those are the sort of
they
two
suck.
feel bad times.
Yeah. I can relate to that playing Warhammer 2. Like, oh shit, I fucked up.
Yeah. Making a huge mess and it's all your fault.
Those are
That
the worst.
hurts. Not making any mistake, still losing. usually losing hard. That also feels kind of bad. It's hard to tell which is worse.
I think the second
the
one
old-
is the worst.
It's the old saying that you didn't get to play Magic.
Yeah.
Like you only draw lands or you draw no lands, so you have no chance of affecting the game.
I guess the 40k equivalent would be playing Space Marines and
Play
getting mowed.
Space Marines and only rolling ones and twos.
Yeah. Sorry again we have a long history.
So-
Christian has trauma.
Yeah, PTSD from that. Every time he sees a 1 on a D6,
I mean,
he freaks out.
It's not even fun. I have no idea why you would ever touch dice.
No. I have an uncanny ability to roll the lowest possible results.
Yeah.
I have strange things with random, but I tend to roll very high or very low.
So you're kind of a polarized.
Yes, I tend to roll the extremes, or with most random functions.
But why do you love Magic? What is it about it that you like or love?
There's something about building something and seeing it work that is very nice to me. It's also building something, seeing it work, and trying to make it work against someone else who's done the same thing.
Okay.
And
see who's the more brilliant tactician.
well, there is an aspect of that, but it's why do people like chess? Well, it's a competitive game, but
Yeah, but imagine if you could make your own chess army. Like you have a
Yeah.
certain amount of. That would actually be a cool idea.
that's sort of Warhammer, isn't it?
Oh no! But I mean, still playing chess, but you have a certain amount of points, so you could say just go a full rook build or something like that. Would be kind of cool.
Basically, pawns and one Jace the Mind Sculptor.
Well, I guess what I'm trying to say is that the idea of creating an army of your own in
I
Magic.
mean, it's in Warhammer as well, isn't it?
Yeah,
you
definitely.
both build an army,
Yeah.
and then you pilot it,
Yeah.
and you're facing someone else doing the same.
Yeah.
And this is true of a lot of games in this genre or
Yeah.
this style, that you make something, you see it work, and then you compete with it. And
Yeah.
I think that is what I really like about it.
Yeah, I can appreciate that. And Johan,
Yes,
how about we switch over to you?
I got into Magic in the 7th grade in high school.
Oh, hey.
Through my friend Toby. And very quickly got my worst Magic memory ever. That is Toby basically destroying me with his brother's decks.
Can I just cut in here and say, you say 7th grade, so you would be 13, 14. Yeah, it's for some of our
So,
international
yeah,
listeners.
13 years.
Yeah.
I want to rephrase this for him. It was a deck that I wanted to build, but my brother helped me.
Basically Toby's brother is, among other things, almost a genius, I guess. And
It's like
he
Rain
has,
Man when it comes to Magic.
and he has a very canny ability when it comes to games. So basically it was me going, oh, I like these angels cards. I want to build an angel deck with everything like costing 6 mana or above. And then Toby coming with the most broken standard format ever and just destroying me.
That's gonna be fun.
Like pile driving me into the ground.
Sounds like meeting Frederick. Yeah.
Back then, it wasn't even named standard.
No, but
It was named T1 and T2.
yeah, but now
I think.
now that I entered
Type
Magic
1 and
again,
Type
I actually the deck you used is the period of Magic that was so horrendously broken that a lot of players quit because
Oh
the
my
format
God,
was so destroyed.
Wow. So this was in 7th grade. So
Yeah,
and you're
Mirrored in
you're-
Darksteel was in standard.
Yeah.
Basically cloud post and stuff.
It's actually, I think I played Magic the first time when I was in 4th or 5th grade, actually.
Ooh.
And I got an Avenging Angel. I actually went and bought it, a 3/1 Immortal,
Why?
because it was cool. And for some reason, I thought it would make me completely unbeatable because it couldn't die.
Yeah.
Didn't really work that way, and I quit playing Magic.
Uh,
To be fair, I had no idea how the rules worked.
Oh, okay.
So,
Yeah.
But-
That seems to be a recurring
Yeah.
issue with playing Magic when you're young.
Yeah.
You just don't seem to learn the rules.
That's actually, I was gonna say that's the story of many Magic players. They start liking the cards and like the playing interaction, I guess. Then they quit for a while. Usually, sometimes they start during high school, and then they quit, and then they take it up in their like 20s maybe, and they start playing again, knowing the rules. Many Magic players have done it.
Knowing the rules and having cash.
Yes, yeah, cash is actually very handy.
Magic is a fairly expensive.
Super expensive.
Well, if you're Toby and you spend thousands of...
No.
It doesn't have to.
You
be
don't know
expensive.
half of it. They do.
You don't.
So-
It doesn't have to be expensive. That depends on your playgroup.
I have the white boxes.
It's also I don't think he spends a lot of money on Magic, because I know people who do.
Oh,
Yes.
okay.
Okay, so we're comparatively, I'm very cheap.
To be fair, I did order 4 of every card from a complete release of World of Warcraft. Like, that's 260 cards.
Why?
That's from the US. Because this is why I don't get into Magic, because I want to have all of them.
Okay.
This is actually one of the things I love about you, that you never do anything half-assed. It's always like balls to the wall.
I mean, I'm painting Imperial Fists right now, and I'm gonna go pick up some transfers. Yeah, 30k Imperial Fists. I spent 2,000 crowns on 2 boxes. I'm like, this is okay.
Wait, 30k?
Yeah, 30k. Can't say that for another pod, but they've released Horus Heresy rules, basically. Yeah. I know, right? Only Space Marines. Different chapters have different rules and everything.
Oh.
I know, right?
It's gonna be expensive to live.
Yes.
But essentially...
Okay.
I mean, my best memory is pretty easy. Getting back into Magic, playing with Max and Martin, and other guy called Johan. Winning. Starting to win over people that have played longer for you. More experienced players.
Like not every time, but at least
No, not every time. Like, I have a few draft memories where it's like, this deck is so sweet. I love this deck. And like going 3-0 in Shista draft with Max and other guys from...
yeah, that's a big event for you guys, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's just our draft group, basically. Or Max's draft group. That's
something.
Like one of the better memories, going 3-0 for the first time in a draft. Winning every game.
That was the group that started in my school as well, that actually now are sponsored by Webhallen.
Okay.
They have a partnership.
Basically, improving your skill is the good memory.
You guys should bring me to one of those drafts, if I can come.
Yes,
sure.
great.
Yeah.
100
Wednesday.
you're in.
Yeah.
Cool. Wednesday?
Sure.
Yeah, Wednesdays.
Sure.
What?
Anyway.
Yeah.
It's sudden.
Wednesday and Fridays, usually. We have a schedule. We have a Facebook group called Mysmagic med ITK.
Cool. You're definitely, like, if there's any Swedish listeners out there in the Stockholm area who want to get into Magic, I assume it's okay to just check you guys out.
Yeah. We are an open group. We're connected to the Wizards Play Network.
Oh, cool. So Mysmagic IKT? No.
Med ITK.
Med ITK. Okay. Cool.
It's the Facebook group.
Cool. I'll check you guys out.
I think it's an open group anyway.
I mean, I have like 1 million shit cards that Toby gave me.
Oh.
By the way, I sorted them all.
Why did you do that?
Because I wanted to know what they were.
Okay. Cool.
But I mean,
all the commons from Battle for Zendikar.
All.
I mean, that's a good part about Magic, though. It's wide appeal. Like, to some people, it's the one building decks is the mathematics, the working out the mathematics of pulling certain cards in a certain order and being able to play a certain order of cards in a certain way as many times as possible, like getting down to that. Or it's the art on the cards. I like the art and the story. That's one of the reasons I like Magic, because the art is always nice. Sometimes really nice. Kaladesh, I bought the art book actually because I loved the art so much. And then the story. Story is...
I tried to get into the story on YouTube. I sort of started watching, but I felt really out of my depth.
I mean, the story is basically this. There's a multiverse, and there's a guy called Jace. Jace does things, and he never fails.
Okay.
That's
short version.
So
that is very simplified and not at all accurate, but
very biased.
Okay. All I know is the what are they called? The ancient Cthulian, Cthulhu-esque.
the
Eldrazi.
Eldrazi are probably the ones that I'm most interested in at the moment.
Is that still in standard?
No.
Yes.
Oh, is it?
Battle for Zendikar block is still in standard, and that's
Yeah.
Eldrazi.
Because for a little bit I got
as
into
well
the,
as Eldritch.
Yeah, Eldritch Moon.
Yeah. So it's like vampires versus Cthulhu or something.
Yeah, that's
No,
the
that's the Eldritch
Shadows
Moon.
over Innistrad
Okay.
into Eldritch Moon. Shadows over Innistrad, Lovecraft reference, by the way.
Yeah,
Shadows over Innsmouth.
Oh yeah.
And
That's a
they
classic.
they actually made, because Innistrad is a gothic horror setting originally, and now they blended it with more Lovecraftian horror
Cool.
to create,
Which is the Eldrazi.
as you said, vampires versus Cthulhu.
Yeah, I like that though, that they incorporate all these elements. I think it's the same with Pathfinder Dungeons and Dragons. They managed to take all these genres into one like melting pot and making it work.
Yeah, that's the nice part about Magic. Like, we had battle for Zendikar block, which is in the plane Zendikar, which is a very D&D inspired adventure focused plane. It's very like standard fantasy.
It has
And it has the Eldrazi, which are
things.
these giant Titan old ones, basically.
Yeah.
Then we have the Shadows over Innistrad. It's from the Innistrad plane, where it's more like gothic horror, D&D Ravenloft-esque.
Yeah.
And now we have just finished Kaladesh block. I say we for some reason.
Yeah, well, it's a community. thing,
the standard format and counting release of new blocks. Kaladesh is like a magical
Steampunk India.
Ooh,
Yeah,
cool.
Indian inspired. So the art is inspired storylines, and that's mostly the thing changing. And what I'm trying to say is these different planes. You get to enter these different worlds. each block.
There is a large variety in each plane.
Yeah,
Right.
There's
No,
a reason they call it the multiverse.
Yeah. Now it's currently a release of Amonkhet recently, and that's ancient Egypt basically.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
Jace
with
is
mummies.
And you have like the
Nice, yeah.
Theros block, which is ancient Greece, with hero themes and stuff.
Okay. So
Yeah.
Jace is this universal constant that he's...
No,
No,
He's a universal dick.
he's a planeswalker that in many storylines could be just the reader.
he was
This is the magic player.
he's very focus tested for a younger audience.
okay, so
it
he-
feels like.
Okay.
So he's
Naruto.
Yeah. Kind of.
no.
But I've seen like
Similar.
a burning woman.
That's
Chandra.
Chandra
Okay.
Nalar.
You're both looking
handsomest
down
and
at the
beautiful.
table, so I'm thinking...
No, she's definitely on my wall of beautiful women
All right,
at home.
Cool.
Which one of the pictures?
Is that why you
That's-
looked
that-
down in shame?
Like that's my magic waifu for everyone.
All right, well, we all have them, But I have to admit, I've always been interested in getting into Magic, but money, wanting to have everything, and also so many other hobbies have kept me out of it.
Yeah. Right now, I have probably not bought that much Magic products the last half a year, mostly because I've just come to a peak where it's like, I have lots of cards. I don't think I need more right now. And also, I don't really play as much drafts and other tournaments right now, so I don't feel the need to buy any more new cards.
Yeah, I've spent a little,
A little?
like in the thousands the last half year at least. So. But that's the nice part about Magic. You can play it at any level. Like you can go to draft. That's 100 kroners, which is like
10 euros or
10 euros,
$12.
$12. And then you get 3 boosters. You can play with those for one evening. You take the deck home and play with your friends many times if you want. Or basically the money part only comes in when you have a play group and someone decides to up the money count. Because then you up the strength of the cards. And
That's kind of how it went.
so you can
with
just
World of
decide
Warcraft for us.
$20. No more than $20 on one deck. And people will have equally powerful decks with.
I feel I should just point out that the cost of a draft varies quite widely.
Yeah.
That
Yes.
depends on where you get it.
Yeah.
To us, we're used to this place in Kista at ITK, which has 100 crowns or kroner
For 3 booster
for
packs.
a draft,
Okay, draft, okay.
and that is considered quite cheap.
Yeah, actually, I was.
Yeah.
So
about to say.
120 maybe is more what
Yeah.
you'd be expecting, or closer to. Well, it also varies depending on in what country you are. In America, I've heard it's a little bit cheaper
Yeah, but that's
general.
America.
because
Every place depends how much it costs and what the price structure is.
Yeah.
Cheese is very fair cost-wise, and the price structure is insanely good. usually.
because it's a cooperation between a
Yeah.
warehouse-style store,
Yeah.
Webhallen, and a school. So the locale, the everything associated with that is free
Okay.
because they're borrowing it from us. That's what they get out of the deal, and we get cheaper from
Cool,
them.
cool.
So it's a cool cooperation thing,
Yeah.
and it's a non-profit more or less.
But I feel like it was the same when we played World of Warcraft. Like we started out fairly low tier, and then just every time we met to play, we bought more and more boosters. And I mean, we had Frederick building decks for us. But I don't know if Magic has it. But the one thing I liked about the World of Warcraft trading card game is that you had raid decks, where you actually one player took the role of a raid boss from World of Warcraft, and the others ganged up against the raid boss. It was designed for cooperation. Is there anything like that in Magic, like you do
Yes.
cooperative playing?
There is.
Arch enemy. And it's exactly what it sounds like. One person versus several.
Are there specific decks designed for this, or
They exist, yes,
Okay.
but you can build anything into that format. Magic is very high on releasing a constructed, ready-made deck for something, and then people taking it apart and building their own instead.
Yeah.
Which is probably a lot better.
They release introduction decks. They
Yeah,
release
I've had a few of those. Yeah.
commander sets,
Yeah.
which is another format. Ready to play.
I played one where you play like a Medusa Archer versus a Jace, I guess, like blue
A
versus
dual
green.
deck,
Oh, yeah,
I
yeah.
think.
Yes.
That's two decks that are designed to be played
yeah.
against each other.
That was fun.
Which is a very interesting way of getting people into Magic.
They're not allowed. Those cards are not allowed in the main game, or
They're allowed in most formats except standard, probably,
okay,
and
okay.
modern.
I think maybe we should get into what is
Yeah,
standard
we should probably get
Yeah,
into
yeah,
and
yeah.
some
what are the
formats.
various formats.
yeah.
Yes.
We've already touched on limited.
Yes.
Like, limited is when you don't sit at home and have every Magic card you own available to you. And there are two main forms, draft and sealed. Sealed is probably the easiest to explain. You have 6 booster packs, usually. There are smaller formats. You open all of them, you build with that.
Okay. There's 15 cards in every booster
Yes.
pack. Yeah. Okay.
There's a little bit of variance there. Very old had fewer. And there's a basic land in each, which basically doesn't count. And some don't have that, but yeah.
Okay.
And I mean, you can see how to build from that. You just look at what you have available and try to make something that works out of it.
What color combination have good things connecting each other?
Okay.
Yeah.
Other different. Yeah.
You get a
There's
pool,
lot.
pool of cards and you build a 40 card deck.
Maybe
Yeah.
we should even talk a little bit about what a booster contains.
Mm. Yeah,
I mean, you can. But first, if I can interrupt, what I want to know is if you guys can explain to me, like, what are the lands? Because you mentioned lands, like, because I know there's colors in Magic, right? And they represent
Yes.
different things.
Well, the basics is you have what's known as basic lands. They are often freely available when it comes to how to build. And you can play one every turn on your turn. They tap, that is, turn sideways to generate mana that you then use to cast spells, which is more or less anything that isn't a land is a spell.
So they're like a resource that you.
They're a resource. They also untap during at the beginning of your turn.
Yeah.
So they restore.
Yeah.
So you have a growing amount available every turn.
The easiest way to explain it is basically that Magic has two kinds of cards. Cards that you need mana to play and cards that generate mana. Most cards that generate mana are called lands because they are played as a land type. They can only be played one land each turn if you don't have cards that enable you to do otherwise. And they tap for mana. And then you have instants, sorceries, creatures, and a lot of other cards
stuff that
you
requires.
can spend the mana on to play on different phases of your turn.
Lands and spells.
Lands and spells. And then you have the thing when you have cards that cost mana but generates mana in turn.
Okay.
So
Yeah, there are mana producing cards
but
that
the
you can
basic
play.
is you have mana and you have things that cost mana. And lands are the basic.
And the lands are like there's white, black, red, blue, and green, right?
Yes.
Correct.
And colorless now.
Okay.
Well, colorless existed before, but it was.
Yeah, but now it's a basic land.
But as
Yeah,
far as
yeah.
I can tell, like they're not just colors and like kind of landscape, but also they play in different ways, right? The different
Yes.
colors.
They have different archetypes.
Okay.
And
I like black.
black is
Red.
I suppose
Winning
there's-
at any price.
Yes.
There's a personality to each.
Okay.
Yeah.
Black is the very ambitious and power at any cost.
That's my kind of
Liches and necromancers
Yeah, I
from
like that stuff.
Dungeons and Dragons.
It can also be a very suicidal tactic.
Yes. Getting your
there's-
own life down to minimum, but your opponent dies first.
That they often combined with red, which is a very aggressive color, just to form a deck that says, "I don't care what my life total is, as long as yours is 0."
I like that kind of playing actually.
Yeah, you have black that is like it's good at destroying creatures, good at
Sacrificing.
making you
right?
control the game
Yeah.
at the cost of your life total.
Yeah. So it would be like a warlock in Hearthstone, for example. They play kind of the same, right?
I haven't
What?
Similar,
actually played
I'd say.
Hearthstone.
Okay, yeah, sure.
Warlocks are very similar, actually. They've clearly inspired parts of Hearthstone and are clearly inspired by Magic.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's hard not to be, because Magic is like the trading card game. Yeah.
There hasn't been that many. That's
we are currently
succeeded.
sponsored by Wizards of the Coast.
No, we're not. We're not.
We could be.
God damn it.
Go to the Swede fighters.
Okay.
Yeah,
Anyway,
that's black and red, and then green is
big primal creatures.
Beef.
I mean, actually, you could go like red is mountains, so you have goblins basically connected
black
to that.
is swamps.
Yes.
Black is swamps, green is forests, which is beasts, elves, big creatures.
The
Plains
bondage
is
elf, by
white.
the way, the forbidden card, the elf that was in bondage. My friend had it. It was a green card, like an elf being tied by it. Never mind, a little fairy.
Whatever you do
fairy.
at home, Christian.
That was a banned card. It was a fairy that was basically tied up in a bondage position.
Vanillin click?
This was a long time ago.
No.
I don't actually know of that specific card.
I think it
We'll
was a bit
see.
at least 15 years ago. Toby will put in a picture of it in the video version of the podcast.
Christian is making up magic cards and making
No, it's true.
find pictures.
There is a picture that contains two baboons mating, I think, as well in the background of it.
But that's an old one, right?
Yes, it's an
Yes.
old
The
one
old ones are classic.
where they just took
They
art.
didn't give a fuck.
Yeah.
They took art and paid the artist to
Yeah.
use it
Uh-huh.
sometimes. And sometimes, you know,
They missed some details. Yeah.
That's actually fun. If you go to DeviantArt after the release of a magic set, like a few weeks afterwards, you actually notice when Wizards of the Coast allow the artists to put their artwork up at pages, because the front page is filled with magic cards.
Cool.
Like all the magic art just hits.
But we gotta kind of hurry up, because this has been a very interesting conversation. But we need to finish talking about the colors before.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So green is beefy
Wilderness,
creatures
big.
and wild
Yeah.
creatures. Blue is a very mind control.
Yes,
Can you imagine-
knowledge and order.
I can imagine Toby likes playing blue.
I do some what? I didn't do before, but I started playing more blue, and I really like the color.
Actually, I think the more you understand magic, the more you like blue.
That is actually very true, because I didn't play blue at all before, because why would I want to draw more cards on the cost of this?
Or the classic, why would I want to draw a card and then discard a card?
Exactly.
Like, that's just, I'm just going to draw a card that I want to keep, and then I have to discard a card that I want to keep.
I can imagine
And-
that's
yeah.
the big step from a scrub player to a pro player.
Yeah.
Yes,
there's
basically.
a lot of,
Sorry. Okay.
there's a lot of understanding that goes into things like that, where
Yeah.
what's something worth is, even in the beginning of Magic, they didn't know.
No, they didn't.
And later, as the game evolved, they realized what things were worth.
The meta kind of grew.
Yeah.
Drawing cards is worth a lot. This
Yeah,
is something
a
you
lot.
realize.
So there's this blue card for 1 mana that draws you 3 cards. Then that's mega banned everywhere.
But I can imagine it's kind of like when I'm making a Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition character. Just gonna make a quick notice here. And I got to pick between a D12 or 2D6 in damage for a weapon. And you'd go like, oh, well, it's probably the same. But it isn't, because 2D6 will roll statistically higher than 1D12. Because it can't, for example, you can't roll a 1 with a 2D6.
No.
So these kind of things go into the meta, like discussing what it can evolve into. So,
Some of that is very obvious when you know it, but not until you do.
yeah.
How much is gaining life worth is a typical question that puts, new players go, well, that sounds good. That prevents me from dying. It's, and old players go, ugh.
Yeah, what could you do instead of that?
Yeah, the first rule is kill Kira, by the way.
Which is one of the friends in our
other
group.
player. It's the first rule of Magic made by me is kill Martin, because then we can all enjoy Magic afterwards.
So it's kind of like everyone gang up on Frederick.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's the same rule.
It's
except
the same
a different game.
principle.
But actually, one of the first things I was taught by these guys was your life total it's 1 or more. It doesn't matter.
No,
as long as you have
exactly.
one life 1 or more in life, doesn't matter if it's 120.
It's a Boolean situation.
Like,
You're
of
either
course, it
alive or not.
matters. You calculate tactics and swinging, but you're only dead when you have 0.
And
So-
sometimes not even then.
No, so
No.
gaining 8 life for the worth of a card might not win you the game, as much as drawing 5 cards for the for 1 card.
Yeah. I can imagine.
Yeah.
Then
Also-
the next type is
white.
I believe. And that is partially gaining life.
Gaining
It's
life.
also
A lawful good. Gaining life,
preventing damage.
preventing damage.
Although that has been reduced a bit recently because, as previously discussed, gaining life isn't really as good.
No, it's not.
It's not killing creatures or opponents, but
Pacifying them.
pacifying them, locking
Mhm.
them up so they can't attack or
Mm.
block.
Cast enchantments on them.
It's also a color that deals with humans a lot as
Yeah.
a type and
Yeah, that.
small creatures,
Mhm.
but plenty of them.
Okay.
Yeah,
And
you-
community, cooperation, stuff like
Yeah.
that comes into that. So creatures
Yeah.
helping other creatures.
Okay. So yeah, it's like civilization.
Sort of.
Yeah.
It's very traditionally good things.
Lawful good.
As-
I mean,
black,
each
blue,
color has
red,
their own
green,
lands, like
green.
plains white,
Yeah.
swamps black,
Yeah.
forest green, mountains red, and
Oceans.
islands.
Oh, islands.
for blue.
Islands. Sorry.
And each of these have a different kind of creature type. Goblins in the mountains, zombies in
Yeah.
the swamps, and elves in the forest, and humans on the plains. So
Wow,
each
yeah.
color has certain creature types. As well.
And there are thousands upon thousands of cards out there, right?
yeah,
Yeah,
Or
there
hundreds
there
of
are lots of them, but yeah,
I mean,
I don't know.
Each set now contains about 240
Mm.
unique cards.
200 for no.
260? Sometimes they release a larger, sometimes they release a smaller set as well.
Yes, and sometimes they reprint old cards just for the heck of it.
Yeah.
It feels like.
I was at PAX, Penny Arcade
Yeah.
Expo, a few years back. This was in 2009 or 10. And I actually stayed with a friend in America who's a major Magic player. And our hotel room, you could not navigate through that room except for one little set path because he had so many white boxes of cards just lying around.
What?
His entire car, except for the driver's seat, had been filled with boxes of Magic cards. And he just sat there for hours like, okay, what if I did? Like he was building these decks, for the tournament. And I was
Yeah.
like, wow. It was like, this was supposed to cost you a lot. I was like, yeah, it was more than my car. I was like, okay.
There are actually cards that are worth more than cards, like a single card.
Yeah, I mean that's the next part about Magic. Like when you take it to different levels.
Yeah.
Either you take it to the highest level where one card in every 6th or 7th booster pack is worth playing in your deck
Mm.
because it's that rare or mythic slot, and that's the good rare and mythic slot.
Yeah.
Or you play the like kitchen table where every card in a booster pack is almost good.
No,
Like
almost.
There are exceptions.
But
I mean, yeah, that's why it's expensive, because depending on how you want to play it, you can either play with every card, or you can play at a higher competitive level where 1 in 100 cards is good.
But I can imagine with over 20 years of experience, Wizard of the Coast probably don't make useless cards anymore, right? Or,
They do.
oh, okay.
I mean,
They make what they is referred to as draft chaff.
Aha, okay. Yeah.
It's things that might see play in a limited environment because you picked one up for free.
Okay.
yeah, I mean, their card design is so complicated because they have to do limited draft cards. They have to do for the standard format, which is constructed decks with a certain amount of editions of Magic. And then they have modern format, which is even more editions of Magic. So they have to think of all the layers of playing Magic when they do a card.
Exactly.
But I think recently in Calendars I saw one card that's odd question mark card that made me go like, I will never draft this, and if I draft it, I will never put it in my deck. I never see any use for this card, and that's one card in that edition that made me think like that. All the other cards are playable more or less in limited.
Yeah.
We're kind of running out of time, unfortunately, because this has been a very interesting episode. I learned a lot.
We could always come back to this at some other
Absolutely.
time.
But I want to ask you one final, 3 actually. Toby, you can answer
crap.
2.
Okay.
What is the shortest Magic match you've played?
Oh, I have one. A turn.
I have one that's less.
Yes.
Mulligan, 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 scoop.
Yeah, mulligan is when you take a new hand but one less card because you didn't want to keep your first start hand.
And scooping
yeah.
is referred to as scooping up your cards to shuffle them for the next match.
I have,
It was the mulligan rule is your starting hand of 7 cards. you can look at that and say, I don't want to keep this. This doesn't work. So you shuffle your deck again and draw 6 cards this time, and then 5, and so on. And once you drop below a certain amount of cards, you're so unlikely to win that match.
Yeah, it just feels pointless.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that is probably the shortest match possible.
Was it you or the guy you were playing against?
I've done it, and I think I've faced someone who's done it as well. So
yeah.
it does happen.
Yeah, that's gonna suck.
It does.
Yeah, I've had the same, like mulligan to 6, mulligan to 5, mulligan to 4, mulligan to 3, still not playable. Scoop. Thank you.
That's gonna suck in tournaments though. Like
I mean,
that
yeah,
still counts as a win, right?
Yeah, that's a loss. That's a loss or a win, depending on.
Wow.
It is really harsh.
I've also seen the saddest opponent when I played a mill deck, which is you make your opponent put their cards into their graveyard without playing them, basically. And he was just waiting for one land, and I was just milling away the land, and he was just drawing creatures or spells, and then I milled away his lands again. He lost that match turn with 2 lands on board, playing a pretty land-heavy deck.
Wow.
That's the saddest thing I ever witnessed.
And Toby, how did you lose that one round?
Oh no, I won.
Okay.
It was on the client Magic Online. I tried a deck that I built, which is also a mill deck for funny reasons. So I got a 7-card hand, I looked at it, and I laughed a little bit for myself, and then I play all the cards, and the opponent lost, because he had no cards left in his library. I passed the turn. When you don't have any more cards to draw from your library, you lose.
Wow.
I mean, that's the fun part about Magic and the release of new cards. That Magic is such a rules-complicated format when you really get into it.
Yes.
So there was this one deck that popped up when they released a new card that won on turn 0, basically. Your opponent's upkeep, before he even plays any lands, draws any cards, it won. Even if it wasn't your turn.
Wow.
Yes.
And that's then, Wizard of the Coast ban a few cards, and Magic becomes
You gotta wonder, like, don't they have a bunch of people sitting there actually trying to analyze the
Yeah,
meta?
but sometimes they miss details.
As you
Get
said,
it together,
as you
Wizards
said,
of the
there's
Coast.
thousands of cards.
Oh yeah.
And all
then
the interactions.
Wizards
Yeah.
are actually the medium nerds of Magic. There's these high tier nerds that just sit and go, "Wow, this card is so abusive."
We're talking.
Yeah.
We're talking people, probability professors.
No, we have a friend.
People that should be curing cancer, but instead are destroying people on Friday nights.
And there you have it, folks. Stop playing Magic. Start curing cancer. You could even say that Magic is the cancer.
Did you hear that, Kira or Martin? Cure cancer instead. Stop destroying Friday nights.
Thank you both for coming and talking
Thank
about
you for
your hobby.
inviting me.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It was great having you guys here. I look
Yeah.
forward to having you guys here again, because this is not the last time we hear about Magic.
No, probably not, because I'm here.
Yeah, Toby, I'm sorry for doubting you about Magic. It sounds like a really fun thing to do. And also, if you're masochistic, probably very arousing too.
So, yeah, perfect fit for you.
Yeah,
All the paper
definitely.
cuts.
Yeah.
Oh boy. And just to bother you guys, I'm going to play Sleeveless.
I mean, actually,
I don't care.
Before we finish,
No.
one
All right,
recommendation. If you're interested, go to your local nerd store and buy an introduction set and just play.
The dual
And
sets are fun.
Then maybe go to YouTube and type how to draft Magic into the
There are
search engine.
lots. And
Perhaps
lots
we
of
could provide a
videos.
link,
Yeah.
because I know
Yeah,
there's the
probably.
YouTube channel from Loading Ready Run. They made a podcast style video that was "So You've Never Drafted."
Okay.
There's
yeah.
lots
So a little
of
shout out
things.
to that. We'll put it in the video and in the description.
Yes.
Great.
That we can do.
Right. Until next time, thank you for listening and keep rolling.
Keep rolling.
Keep rolling.
And rolling.
Thank you for listening to Swede Rolls. Your support means the world to us. The music you heard playing at the start and the end of this episode is Fireside Tales by Darren Curtis. The intent of this podcast is to discuss themes and issues in all manner of gaming, but primarily focused on the RPG genre. If you have any comments or feedback, we'd love to hear from you. Pay us a visit at swederolls.com, where you can also learn about the people doing this podcast and more. For our Let's Play channel, check us out at youtube.com/Swede_fighters. And until next time, keep rolling.